Before the for sale sign, before these screaming matches and slammed doors, there was just a love story. Mine and Mark's. When I met him, he was a man living under a permanent gray cloud. A widower for 3 years, he was trying to raise his 14-year-old daughter, Olivia, all on his own. I fell for his quiet strength and the kindness in his eyes. I fell for the way he talked about his late wife. It was both heartbreaking and beautiful. I knew going into it that I wasn't just choosing him. I was choosing his entire world, his history, and his daughter. Those first few years were like a careful dance. I never, ever tried to be Olivia's mother. The thought alone felt wrong. Her mom was a ghost in our house, a perfect saint whose photos were on every single shelf. I respected that. Instead, I tried to be a friend, someone she could count on. I was the one driving her to soccer practice, helping her cram for finals, and sitting with her through teenage heartbreaks with a tub of ice cream and a listening ear. I thought I was building a bridge, one small favor at a time. The house was the heart of their family, the one thing that hadn't changed since Olivia's mother passed. It was a beautiful 2-story colonial, but it was completely frozen in time. When Mark and I got married, the understanding was that this was my home, too. We were a new family, and our finances showed it. Mark's job was steady, but my career was taking off. It was my money that paid for the new roof a year after I moved in. It was my bonus that paid for the complete kitchen remodel, turning the dark, dated space into a bright, open room where Olivia and her friends always ended up hanging out. So when it came time to refinance the mortgage, it was my excellent credit and my income that made it possible. We became joint tenants, which is a legal way of saying we were equal partners in the house. On paper, it was just as much mine as it was his. I poured everything into that home. Not just money, but my soul. I planted a garden, repainted the walls, picked out new furniture. I was nesting, trying to create a space that felt like us. I thought these things were being seen, that they were appreciated. I thought I was weaving myself into the very fabric of their family. But Olivia never saw it that way. To her, every change I made was an erasure. When the new kitchen was done, her first comment wasn't about how great it looked. It was a quiet, sharp remark to her father at dinner. It doesn't feel like Mom's house anymore. Every nail I hammered, in her eyes, was another nail in her mother's coffin. She used her grief like a weapon and a shield, and it made her untouchable. Any time I got frustrated, Mark would give me that same tired line, be patient with her. It's been hard. Her resentment wasn't always obvious. It was more like a death by 1,000 cuts. She'd forget to set a place for me at the table. When her friends came over, she would introduce me as her stepmom, as my dad's wife. She would talk on and on about family vacations from before, making it a point to exclude me. It wasn't our house. It was my house. It wasn't our family. It was me and my dad. I was just an accessory. I tried talking to Mark about it. Gently at first, but with more urgency as the years went by. I'd explain how her behavior made me feel like a total outsider in my own home. He'd listen, sigh, and promise to talk to her. But the talks had no teeth. He was terrified of upsetting her, of breaking that fragile bond with the only piece of his late wife he had left. Because he never set any boundaries, Olivia became the emotional center of our home. Her happiness was the only thing that mattered, usually at the expense of mine. I was the adult, so I was expected to just take it, to absorb the hits and keep on smiling, and for a decade that's exactly what I did. I told myself it was the price of being in this family. I thought one day she'd grow up and see me as someone who loved her and her father, not as a replacement. I was so wrong. The thing that finally broke me wasn't some huge betrayal. It was small. Almost ridiculous. It was about a bathroom. The upstairs guest bathroom was a total relic, with peeling floral wallpaper and a faucet that dripped all night long. It was the very last room in the house I hadn't touched. I'd saved up the money, drawn up plans, and even picked out the tile. I just saw it as the final step in making the house truly ours. I brought it up at dinner one night. Mark, I was thinking we could finally tackle the guest bathroom next month. I found a contractor who can start in a few weeks. Mark nodded. Oh, yeah? What were you thinking of doing? Before I could even show him the plans, Olivia slammed her fork down. Her face, which had been glued to her phone, was suddenly a mask of cold fury. She was 24 by now, a college grad living at home while she figured things out. A phase that seemed to have no end. You can't, she said, her voice completely flat. I was stunned. Can't what, honey? You can't touch that bathroom. I tried to keep my voice light, reasonable. Olivia, the plumbing is a mess, and the wallpaper is literally falling off. It has to be done. No, she said, her eyes locking on mine. That was the last room Mom decorated. It's the only part of her that's left. You've already changed everything else. The accusation just hung in the air. The new roof over her head, the kitchen where she ate every meal, the car I'd helped buy her, none of it mattered. In her version of the story, I wasn't a provider, I was a villain. Mark, in his usual way, tried to play peacemaker. Come on, Liv, let's be reasonable. Your mom would have wanted us to fix a leaky faucet. She would have wanted her to stay out of it, Olivia spat, pointing her fork at me. This is our house, our family. You're just a guest here and you've long overstayed your welcome. The cruelty of it just sucked the air out of my lungs. A decade of my life, my love, my money reduced to being a guest. I looked at Mark, pleading with my eyes for him to say something, to defend me, to defend us. He just sat there, his face a picture of helpless misery, caught between his daughter's grief and his wife's pain. His silence was the only answer I needed. And that's when something inside me just snapped. All the years of biting my tongue, swallowing my hurt, and making myself smaller to make room for her pain, it all just came rushing up. I stood up. My voice was eerily calm. You know what, Olivia? You're right. I've been a guest here for 10 years, and frankly, the service is terrible. Her eyes went wide. I'd never, ever talked to her like that. The power just shifted right there in that instant. She wasn't some grieving kid I had to handle with gloves anymore. She was a grown woman, being deliberately, breathtakingly cruel. She stood up too, her chair scraping against the floor. If you don't like it, then leave. Why don't you just do us all a favor and disappear forever? There it was. Disappear forever. It wasn't just shouted in anger. It was delivered with a cold, chilling finality. Like a death sentence, the room was dead silent, except for the drip, drip, drip from the bathroom that started it all. Mark finally choked out, Olivia, that is enough. But it was way too little, way too late. The truth was out. I wasn't family. I was just an inconvenience to be thrown away. I didn't cry, I didn't yell. I looked at Olivia's hateful, triumphant face, then at my husband's defeated one. And I just nodded. Okay, I said. The word was quiet, but it was the loudest sound I'd ever made. I turned and walked out, leaving them standing in the ruins of the family I tried so hard to build. That night, I slept in the guest room, and as I listened to that maddening drip, an idea started to form, an idea that was both terrifying and liberating. She wanted me to disappear. Fine. But I wasn't going to be the only one losing a home. The next morning, I called a family law attorney. I didn't tell Mark where I was going. When he asked, I just said I needed some air. Driving to the lawyer's office felt surreal. The world was just going on as usual, but mine had just been blown apart. I felt this weird calm, the kind you feel after the storm has passed and you're just looking at the wreckage. The lawyer, Ms. Albright, listened patiently as I told her everything. When I was done, I expected her to feel sorry for me. Instead, I saw this flicker of steel in her eyes. She laid out all the documents I brought, the deed, the mortgage papers, bank statements showing the huge transfers from my accounts for the renovations. Legally, she started, her voice crisp and clear, This is very straightforward. You are a joint tenant. You own 50% of this property. Your name is on the deed. Your financial contributions are substantial and well documented. So what does that mean? I asked. It means you have every right to force a sale. It's called a partition sale. If your husband won't buy you out, you can petition the court to order the house sold and the profits divided. Sell the house. The words felt so clinical, but they also felt like power. For the first time in 10 years, I had leverage. I wasn't just Dad's wife who could be dismissed. I was an owner, an equal partner. Olivia doesn't see it that way, I said quietly. She sees it as her mother's house. Her feelings, Ms. Albright said bluntly, while maybe understandable, are legally irrelevant. She is not on the deed. You're not stealing her inheritance, because it isn't hers to inherit yet. You are simply liquidating your investment. I left her office with a folder and a clear path forward. Step 1, get the house appraised. Step 2, find a real estate agent. I did it all in a daze. I met with a top agent, a woman known for being aggressive and discreet. To her, it wasn't a home full of memories. It was a 4-bed, 3-bath property, with a great kitchen in a hot market. It was a product that would sell, and sell fast. Meanwhile, a strange Cold War was happening back at the house. Olivia was smug, convinced she'd won. She pranced around, talking on the phone with her friends about a house cooling party to celebrate me leaving. She was completely clueless, wrapped up in her own entitlement. Mark kept trying to fix things, suggesting dinner dates and telling me we can get through this. She didn't mean it. But he never said what I needed to hear. I choose you. I will not let anyone, even my daughter, treat you this way. His loyalty was split, and a split loyalty is no loyalty at all. The final straw came a week later. I found an invoice on the counter for a party venue. Olivia was planning a huge, catered 25th birthday party for 100 people. When I asked Mark about it, he wouldn't even look at me. She used my credit card. I told her it was too much, but she was so excited. She was planning a party in a home she'd kicked me out of, using her father's money, which she knew was tied to mine. The audacity was just stunning. She really thought she could push me out, but keep the lifestyle I was paying for. That night, I called the real estate agent. Let's do it, I said. I'm signing the papers. When can the sign go up? Friday morning is looking good, she chirped. The market is hot. Friday morning. Mark had a golf game. Olivia was meeting friends for brunch. The house would be empty. It was perfect. Friday morning was bright and sunny, almost like the weather was mocking the storm about to hit. At exactly 10 a.m., a van pulled up. A man got out, grabbed a post and a sign, and hammered it right into the front lawn I had spent so many Sundays tending to. For sale. It was big, bold, and unapologetic. And it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I took a picture of it with my phone. Then I went inside, packed a suitcase, and walked out the front door without a second glance. I checked into a hotel downtown, ordered room service, turned off my phone, and for the first time in a decade, I just breathed. Around 2 p.m., I turned my phone back on. It absolutely exploded. 37 missed calls, a flood of texts. Most were from Mark, moving from confused to frantic. Hey, just got home. Someone put a for sale sign on our lawn as a prank. Can you believe it? Call me. Okay, not funny. I called the real estate company. They said you listed the house. What is going on? Call me now. Answer your phone. Olivia is home. She's having a meltdown. You can't do this. This is our home. Then came the texts from Olivia. A waterfall of pure rage. What did you do? You can't sell my house, my mother's house. I will sue you. I will ruin you. You are a monster, a gold-digging witch. I read every single one, feeling strangely detached. The words that would have destroyed me a week ago now felt like nothing. I waited until I knew they were both home, stewing in the mess they'd made. Then I called Mark. He answered immediately. Have you lost your mind? he yelled. I could hear Olivia screaming in the background, "Tell her I hate her. Tell her she's dead to me." I kept my voice perfectly low, just like my lawyer told me to. No, Mark, for the first time in a long time, I think I've found it. I'm not doing anything I'm not legally allowed to do. We are selling the house. We are not selling anything? He shot back. You did this behind my back. No, Mark, I corrected him. It stopped being our home when your daughter gave me an ultimatum and you let her. It became an asset. And I'm cashing out my half. Olivia told me to disappear. I'm just taking her advice. It's kind of hard to live in a house you've been told to disappear from. He just sputtered on the other end of the line. He had nothing to say. I could hear Olivia grab the phone. You can't do this, she shrieked. I live here? My whole life is in this house. Then maybe you should have been nicer to the person who paid for half of it, I said calmly. You wanted me gone. You won. I'm gone. But the money that paid for your kitchen and your trip to Europe and the roof over your head, that's coming with me. Welcome to the real world, Olivia. I hung up. Then I blocked both of their numbers. The silence that followed was the sound of freedom. The next few weeks were a master class in awkward. Our agent was a shark. There were open houses every weekend and showings on weeknights. Mark was apparently sullen and uncooperative. I was told Olivia would sometimes just sit in her room and blast music. A petty little rebellion that didn't stop the flood of eager buyers. Of course, family and friends got involved. My side was 100% behind me. They'd seen how I was treated for years. Mark's family was split. Some called me furious, calling me vindictive. Others called me quietly, admitting they saw this coming and that Mark should have stood up for me. The house sold in less than a month for way over the asking price. We had to communicate through our lawyers to divide everything. Mark actually tried to fight for a larger share, claiming emotional distress. The lawyers shut that down fast. The law was on my side. On closing day, I signed the papers at my lawyer's office. I never saw Mark or Olivia. That afternoon, a life-changing amount of money was wired into my new bank account. I'd already found a beautiful, modern apartment in the city that was all mine. That night, I sat on my new balcony, looked out at the city lights, and felt a sense of peace I hadn't felt in 10 years. I heard through the grapevine that Mark and Olivia moved into a small, 2-bedroom rental. After the proceeds were split, Mark's half had to cover starting a new life while still supporting a daughter with expensive taste and no job. Their lifestyle, which I had largely funded, came to a screeching halt. Olivia had to get a job as a barista. The parties and shopping sprees were over. She got exactly what she wanted me gone. She just never thought about what else would disappear with me. I didn't sell the house just to hurt them. I sold the house to save myself. A home isn't just 4 walls and a roof. It's where you are loved and respected. The second I was told to disappear forever, that house stopped being my home. I just made it official. I don't know if they ever learned their lesson. But I learned mine. I learned that my peace is worth more than any property, and my value isn't based on how much I can give to others. It's based on how much I'm willing to stand up for myself. I disappeared from their lives, just like she wanted, and in doing so, I finally appeared in my own. Have you ever had to walk away from a situation that everyone else called a family? What would you have done if you were me? Let me know in the comments. I read all of them, and if this story resonated with you, make sure to like and subscribe for more stories about finding your own strength. Thanks for listening.